Ladies and gentlemen, gather around, as today we dive into that deliciously dark corner of the human experience. The part where disrespect meets regret. Regret. A fine, heavy drink, don't you think? Some people think they can pour it out and walk away. They think they can walk all over someone, bruise them with words, trample them with actions, and that somehow there will always be another chance. They assume people will stick around, accept the treatment, and just keep giving. But life doesn't work that way, does it? And now they're sitting in that cold, heavy silence left behind by their own mistakes. They never saw it coming, did they? Thought they were invincible, untouchable. They thought that no matter what they did, you'd always be there, waiting, forgiving, enduring. But everyone has a breaking point, even the strongest, the most loyal. They took your silence for weakness, your patience as something they could test over and over again. But there comes a time when even the most giving of people draw the line. And the last time they threw those words at you, the last time they dismissed your feelings, that was it. They just didn't know it yet. Imagine their surprise now, waking up to a world where you don't exist. They didn't think it was possible. After all, they were so used to having you around, always there, always giving. But now, they're left with the bitter aftertaste of regret, realizing that they've crossed a line they can never uncross. And they're sitting there, replaying it over and over in their minds. The last conversation, the last exchange, wondering if maybe, just maybe, they could have done things differently. Regret has a way of creeping in, doesn't it? It doesn't hit all at once, no. It seeps in slowly like poison, filling every corner of their mind, every empty space of their heart. At first, they might have brushed it off, thought, oh, they'll come back, they always do. But as the days turn to weeks, they start to realize that maybe this time things are different. Maybe this time you're really gone. And that's when the regret begins to sink in, heavy and cold, wrapping itself around them like a ghost they can't escape. You see, they never thought that silence could be so loud. They never thought that your absence would leave such a gaping hole in their lives. They thought they could go on, move forward, forget. But you were never just a fleeting presence, were you? You were the warmth, the comfort, the light they took for granted. And now that light is gone, leaving them to stumble around in the dark, haunted by the memory of what they lost. It's funny how people don't realize the value of something until it's gone. They thought they could treat you any way they wanted, that you'd always come back, always forgive. But there's a limit, even to forgiveness. And now, as they sit in the wreckage of their own choices, they're beginning to understand that some things are irreplaceable. They're beginning to understand that they let go of something they can never get back. They replay the moments in their mind, the words they said, the things they did. They remember every instance where they chose to hurt you, dismiss you, disrespect you. And with each memory, the regret grows deeper, darker. They're left wondering why they couldn't see it sooner, why they couldn't appreciate you when they had the chance. But it's too late for why now, isn't it? Because you're gone and there's no going back. Now they sit alone, surrounded by silence, haunted by the echoes of their own actions. They might try to fill the void, might try to find someone else to take your place. But it's no use, because they're not looking for just anyone. They're looking for you. And deep down, they know that no one else will ever fill that space. They know that what they lost was one of a kind, and that knowledge is a bitter pill to swallow. Their pride, once so inflated, has been deflated by the weight of their own mistakes. They thought they were above it all, that they could act however they pleased without consequences. But life has a way of humbling even the most arrogant of people. And now, as they sit there, wallowing in their own regret, they're forced to confront the reality of their own actions. They're forced to face the fact that they had something precious and they threw it away. In their quiet moments, when there's no one around to distract them, they feel the full weight of their choices. They feel the emptiness, the loneliness, the regret. They feel it in their bones, in their soul. And they know deep down that they have no one to blame but themselves. They know that they had a chance and they blew it. And that realization, well, that's the kind of pain that doesn't go away. They might try to reach out, might try to apologize, might try to make amends. But it's too late for that now, isn't it? Because some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. Some wounds, once inflicted, can never be healed. And they're left to live with that knowledge, left to carry that regret for the rest of their lives. They used to think that they were in control, that they held all the power. But now they're beginning to see that the real power lies in walking away. The real power lies in choosing yourself and refusing to tolerate disrespect in knowing your worth. And that's a lesson they'll never forget, a lesson that will haunt them for years to come. So here they are, sitting alone in the dark, haunted by the memories of what they lost. They thought they could treat you like an option, like something disposable. But now they see that they were the ones who were disposable. Now they see that they were the ones who didn't deserve you. And as they sit there, drowning in their own regret, they're left to wonder, what if? What if they had treated you differently? What if they had valued you, appreciated you, respected you? But what if is a cruel game to play because it changes nothing. The past is set in stone, and all they're left with is the reality of their own actions. In the end, they're left with nothing but memories. Memories of a person who once loved them, who once cared for them, who once believed in them. Memories of a person who was willing to give them the world if only they had been willing to accept it. And those memories, well, they're a constant reminder of what they lost, a constant reminder of the mistake they can never undo. So let them sit there. Let them wallow in their own regret. Let them feel the weight of their choices. Let them feel the emptiness of their own actions. Because sometimes the only way people learn is by losing something they can never get back. Sometimes the only way people learn is by living with the regret of their own mistakes. They're left in that dark, hollow place, aren't they? Where the quiet whispers of regret drown out every other sound. It's funny, isn't it? They once found your kindness amusing, maybe even weak. They thought they could stretch it, twist it, and you'd still be there, unwavering. But kindness has its boundaries too. Oh, it might stretch a long way, but eventually it snaps back. And when it does, it leaves a silence that nothing can fill. And now that silence is their constant companion, echoing in every room they walk into, a reminder that they pushed too far, too fast. They wanted you to stay trapped in their games, their petty, endless cycles of manipulation. They thought they could keep you circling, dizzy and lost. But what they never realized was that you were already seeing beyond the walls of their maze. You knew where the exit was, and you knew it was only a matter of time before you took it. So you left, calmly, quietly, leaving them to play their own games alone. Now every move they make, every strategy they hatch, it falls flat because they have no one left to play with. They've lost the one person who truly knew the game. And let's talk about that loss, because it's starting to dawn on them, isn't it? They're beginning to understand that no one else sees them the way you did. No one else cares enough to stay through the storms or lift them up when they stumble. Or they might try to replace you, might search for someone who brings that same light, that same loyalty. But each attempt will leave them feeling emptier, more alone, as they realize you were unique, someone they could never replicate. And now they're left with empty connections, shallow exchanges, and the knowing realization that they threw away the real thing. They're haunted by the memories, the moments they dismissed, the warmth they shrugged off, every little kindness you showed them, every act of care. It's all coming back to them now, but in fragments, in haunting flashes that only remind them of what they let slip away. They're trying to forget, to drown it out, but there's no escaping it. Every quiet moment, every dark night, the regret creeps in, the shadow they can't shake. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The very things they took for granted are now the very things that haunt them. They'll try to distract themselves, look for solace in empty comforts, in fleeting connections. But deep down, they know the truth. They know that no amount, Of noise, no amount of people can replace what they lost. They know they had a rare, irreplaceable light in their life, and that they were the ones who snuffed it out. And now they're left to face the consequences of their actions, left to carry the weight of their own choices day after day, with no end in sight. So let them sit in that silence. Let them drown in that regret. Let them wake up every morning and go to sleep every night with the knowledge of what they lost. Because in the end, some lessons are learned the hard way. And this lesson will stay with them forever. They'll feel it in every quiet moment, every empty space. And they'll never be able to forget that once. They had something priceless and they let it slip through their fingers. As they sit there, haunted by the silence you left behind, they're forced to confront the reality of their own actions. They're forced to face the fact that they had a blessing, a gift, a light, and they let it slip through their fingers. And that, my friends, is the greatest punishment of all. And as the days stretch on, they'll realize that time isn't healing this wound. It's only deepening it with each passing hour. The ache of what they've lost will press down harder, sharper, sinking in with a permanence they can't shake off. They'll start to understand that true regret isn't a fleeting feeling or a pang that fades. No, it's a shadow that follows, a weight that settles in and makes itself at home. It's the cold realization that they'll carry this loss, this hollow emptiness, every day as a reminder that they held something rare, something irreplaceable, and lost it all through their own actions. And so, the nights stretch endlessly before them, each one longer and more oppressive than the last. The quiet, once a solace, now a suffocating blanket of what-ifs and if-onlys. They sit in the shadows of their once vibrant lives, the laughter and warmth now replaced by an echoing silence that mocks their every thought. The walls, once adorned with the light of your presence, now seem to close in with a judgmental sneer, a constant reminder of their isolation, their folly. The world outside moves on, indifferent to their plight. The sun rises and sets with mechanical indifference, and they find that time, once a friend who healed all wounds, has turned its back on them. It's no longer a river carrying them forward, but a stagnant pool mirroring their own stagnation, their inability to move past their mistakes. Each day is a grim reminder that some things, once broken, are beyond repair. Their social circles, once lively and bustling, have thinned. Friends who once flocked to their side, drawn by the light you brought into their lives, now drift away, one by one, leaving behind a vacuum filled with cold realizations. They start to see their relationships for what they were, superficial engagements buoyed by your energy and spirit. Without you, the conversations falter, the gatherings shorten, and the laughter dries up. They are left to fend for themselves, unable to connect, unable to fill the gaping void your absence has left. In desperation, they seek new connections, new distractions, but each attempt to ignite something real, something meaningful, ends in disillusionment. They encounter faces, none of which light up with the understanding and acceptance you once offered so freely. These new relationships, built on shaky grounds of desperation and immediate need, crumble just as quickly, leaving them more jaded, more isolated. The regret they feel transforms from acute pain to a chronic ache, a constant companion whispering of their failures. They begin to understand the deeper nuances of their actions, not just the immediate hurt they caused, but the ripple effects that altered the very trajectory of their lives. They see now how your love was a keystone holding together the arch of their existence. Without it, there is collapse, a crumble into something unrecognizable. They retrace their steps over and over through the maze of memories, each path lined with the ghosts of your past kindnesses, your patience, your unyielding support. These memories, once treasures, now turn into torment, each one a testament to what they squandered. The echo of your laughter, the ghost of your smile, haunting, not comforting. They realize that each memory of you is a room in a grand house of sorrow, built by their own hands. Their future, once a bright horizon stretched out before them, now looms as a murky landscape, shrouded in fog. The paths they could have walked together, the dreams they could have built, now figments dissolving in the mist of what could have been. They understand too late that their actions have not only altered their present, but have skewed the future irreversibly. In their lonelier moments, they fantasize about reconciliations that will never come, conversations where they right their wrongs, where they are forgiven. They imagine a world where they took the other path at the fork, the one where pride did not stand in the way, where ego bowed to empathy. But these daydreams only serve to sharpen the sting of reality, reinforcing the permanence of their choices. As they navigate through their diminished world, they realize that regret is not just a feeling, but a state of being, one that permeates every aspect of their existence. It is a lens that darkens every joy, a filter that saps the color from every pleasure. They learn to live with it, not because it eases, but because there is no other choice. The regret becomes a part of their identity, a defining trait as much as any other part of their character. They mourn not only for what was lost, but also for the person they could have been, the better version of themselves that existed in your eyes. They grieve for the growth they stunted, for the potential they squandered. They mourn for you, for themselves, for the US that could have been. In this purgatory of their own making, they are forced to reckon with the most painful truth, that they are architects of their own misery, and the only redemption lies in a forgiveness that will never come. The lesson they learn is carved deep into their bones, a mark that will weather with them until their days wane. They find that some regrets are so profound, so altering, they don't just teach, they transform.